Welcome to Christians Against Religion. It is me, Steve. So we could call this episode Christian Against Religion, but my name's Steve, not Christian. So it's Steve Against Religion today. And Ethan's not here. He's here, but not here. He's behind the camera today because he got an episode by himself, so I get an episode by myself. It's all free reign for me. I'm like free-range cattle, but Christian cattle. And today we have a very interesting topic, and it's going to be about Christian artistry and navigating the art world. And do you have to call yourself a Christian artist, or can you just be an artist that's a Christian? We'll get into all that in a minute here. Partially, I might be just discussing how wrong Ethan is about everything, or about how right I am about everything, or both. But I'll spare you. I'm right, Ethan's wrong, and that's final. And he doesn't get a word about it because there's one microphone here, not two. Okay. Anyway, so I was just thinking about this week because, well, not even just this week, but what is it to be a Christian artist? Because, you know, I've been making art my whole life, and mostly with music, but with other things too. And there's a lot of strong opinions on the matter when it comes to labeling yourself. Because back when I was in high school, and I mean, even before that, when I was in worship bands, performing at church, it was very clear what I was doing it for. But then when I started making my own music, it was kind of the cool thing to be a Christian band. So there would be Christian music festivals that my band would go to, and it was labeled as a Christian band, which sort of, I don't know, cuts you off from all the other bands in the genre. I play metal, so there's a huge Christian metal scene back in like, I don't know, 2009 to 2012 maybe. Like, that was sort of the Christian metal band heyday, and like bands wouldn't even be Christian, but they would just call themselves Christian to be part of the group and add extra points, I guess, to their band, get new listeners. So it was sort of a weird thing. And then after probably around 2011, 2012, bands started stepping away from that and saying, we're not Christian bands anymore. And I don't know if that's just that they had a, you know, change in their faith or change of their mind or what, but they got a lot of flack from that, from the Christian community. And meanwhile, I was just maintaining the Christian label over the years and not changing anything. But with my newer music, it's not like, if you go back, if anyone's curious, so my band is called Chorder, Chorder. If you look it up on YouTube or wherever, if you look at our first album, it was called Sons of Thunder, and it was the preachiest darn thing you could ever hear, but it was sort of, it felt authentic at the time, but really it was just a lot of regurgitating evangelical Christian sentiments through a microphone. So like the lyrics, if I look back on them, it's just very cringy to me, because I don't feel like it was authentic. And I don't think it was, I think it was just sort of going with the popular thing to do at the time, because again, that's sort of when it was popular. And nowadays I'm making songs like Hamburger Sandwich and Pale, which are very neutral from a faith standpoint. And I just had a comment on my YouTube page, or not my YouTube, my Facebook page for my band a few days ago, from some guy that I'm going to read it because it was very interesting. Bear with me finding this YouTube thing. See, this is when I need Ethan here to just eat up the dead space. Oh, here we go. He said, on a post that I did, he said, "Can you guys please go back to making serious Christian music? You guys were one of a kind. How do you go from songs like King and Mirrors to Hamburger Sandwich? I just don't get it. You guys made the best metal music with God-serving lyrics ever, and now..." And it's crazy to me, because we see sentiments like that and this sort of attitude from the Christian community all the time with different issues. But it was kind of surprising to see it come to my music, because I mean, I've not changed being a Christian. I've just made fun songs these days about hamburgers. So I'll just read the response too. I just told him, well, I don't need to read my comment, but this is my comment. I told him, I'm just keeping it real, my dude. Like, I want to make music that I want to make music about. And back then it was about certain things, faith-based, and now it's about hamburgers. But I don't want to make Christian music for Christian music's sake. I want to be authentic, and I'm always a Christian that's making music. So it was the same as it was then as it is now. It's just the songs might not be as preachy as they once were, because my life has changed a lot, and I find a lot of the words that I was saying before kind of gross. And it's all fine stuff, but there was a change where I think a lot of it is a lot closer to what I believe now, and especially on a show called Christians Against Religion. I did plenty of songs about being against the religious nonsense that people get stuck in. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a Christian musician, but I don't label myself as a Christian musician, because that's sort of limiting. And I think it's totally fine to do that for people. And yeah, it's just sort of surprising. I had that view too when the bands were coming out of the Christian music scene and saying they're not Christian anymore and sort of looking down on them. But I now have grown and matured a bit from that position, and I think it's actually, one, smart, and two, more realistic to how we're living anyways. So it's more realistic to how I live. I am a Christian throughout everything in my life, and that nothing changes that, especially not if I call myself a Christian artist or not, because that, I think, well, as seen by the bands that were just calling themselves Christian band to get the fans, it's a lot of times inauthentic, because it's all it is a label, and all it was marketing, essentially, because they wanted to make more money. So I don't find any problem being a Christian and an artist and not mentioning the label Christian artist. So for anybody out there that makes, whether you paint, whether you do music, shoot, I do stand-up comedy sometimes, and I don't know that Christian comedy, I'm sure there's a lot out there, but just from a comedy standpoint, that's probably got to be a rough scene to be a part of. I don't think that has the same street cred as it did to be a Christian metal person. But yeah, I mean, I say just be an artist and be a Christian, and those things will work hand in hand as long as you keep it authentic. And I think that's what true art is about. If you're not being authentic with the art, then it's not really art, is it? It's sort of just, I don't know what it is. Marketing, I guess, or appeasing people. And that's what the guy was arguing to me, saying, oh, you're just trying to, you're being a lukewarm Christian, and you're not being on fire for the faith. And I'm just thinking, man, you don't understand anything about me. You don't, the only thing that's changed is that I haven't written the same song lyrics. So I don't know, just something to put out there for you. There's some Christian bands like the band Skillet, and you know what? Skip the Skillet thing. There was a band called For Today back in the day, like a metal band, and they were the preachiest band ever. They were essentially an extension of like the worship team at your local church, but playing metal music, and it turned a lot of people off because it was so in your face and preachy that it was just, I don't know, it just turned people off. So it can work to your detriment as well if you do it the wrong way. But yeah, now there's bands like Skillet who've always proclaimed to be a Christian band and stayed with that label because they're less like heavy, they're more like hard rock, so it can appeal to a large group, the masses, and they have a lot of strong opinions on that, and they're angry when bands don't call themselves Christian. But what are you gonna do? I say keep making music, keep loving the Lord, and just do your thing. And I would rather have an authentic musician that I find out is also a Christian than to see the fake ones, preaching in their songs and art and whatever else. So, yeah, just a little encouragement for you all. I mean, a lot of my fans are fans of mine because they were looking for Christian music that was, my particular style of metal, and that's how they found me. But they didn't go anywhere because the music's still good, and it's still me talking from the heart, essentially, in all the songs, even if they're about hamburgers or pails or whatever, doesn't matter. So be you, love God, keep the faith, and keep going. See you later.
Woo!